Hello again, everyone. My name is Colonel 006, back with a new experience. A podcast with a very dear friend of mine who is far across the pond, currently living in Poland. His name is...
FareltheGecko.
Yes! Haha, welcome, sir. We have been preparing for this for a while, and I've been promising this for a while, so I am very proud to bring you all the first podcast of Kronos 006. And, say a little bit about yourself, my friend.
Yeah, well, I'm a little humble YouTuber, furry artist, and overall weirdo. And I've been friends with Kronos for a while, and he's the one who led me to Danganronpa. And since his Let's Play of V3 is now complete, we're gonna talk a bit about the series and overall what brought us here and what we think of where the series went.
Exactly. Thank you, my friend. So, let me introduce everything. So, the really interesting thing about this series, now that it's over, and I have to say, to any of you, many subscribers who found me thanks to the Danganronpa series, I'm sorry to say, but I'm probably not going to play anymore.
Well, unless you
so
pick up
long.
Ultra Despair Girls again.
No, I couldn't stand that. I'll probably play it on my own. I hated that game. It was so annoying.
It gets worse. Trust me.
You told me. So again, everybody, this is my dear friend that I made. Gosh, it must have been almost 7 years ago now. FareltheGecko, he is awesome. I visited him in 2012. I was hoping to do a review with him way back in the day, but I lost the footage. So that never happened, unfortunately, in my grand European trip a long time ago. But anyway, I originally discovered this series because of a very dear friend of mine. She likes to go online, I think, as The Mind is a City. Her first name is Jenny. And she has been a friend of mine since high school. We met over Pokemon. She's just a friend. She's just a friend. But she's super into games, and she has introduced me to so many different games. And just on a whim, several years ago, as I was leaving her apartment, she told me about this very strange game in which a bunch of teenagers, high schoolers, whatever, sounds like the plot of any anime, am I right? So basically, she said, "Oh, you might like this. It's kind of like 999, which of course, as you guys know, is definitely a favorite series of mine, as I played it on the channel. And for lack of a better term, it's very similar. It's by the same designers, I think. No, it's a different designer, and we'll talk about that. One is Kotaro Uchikoshi, and the other, that's 999, and the other is, can you help me out?
Nope, I can't.
I'm not prepared, and I didn't expect him to be prepared, so it's okay.
Well, basically similar creators in some ways, similar games.
Yeah, and there's actually, I've shown this to you, buddy, but there's a video out there where they kind of debate each other.
I saw bits of that.
It's
Quite
very funny.
interesting.
It's sort of Phoenix Wright style. Anyway, so again, welcome everybody. I've never done a podcast before, so I really hope this is gonna come out okay. We're just gonna do freeform for the most part. So I had played things like Phoenix Wright, which I bet a lot of you have, where you kind of have to puzzle out a case and you have to present certain evidence. If you've played that, then that is Danganronpa, taken to an extreme. So the basic plot, actually I'll let my friend Farel explain, because I've been talking forever. Take it away, Farel.
Well, basically the plot of the games is about a group of young teenagers, is apparently from that were students at Hope Speak Academy, a school for the gifted. Something happens and they wake up in a situation where a strange little bear, Monokuma, declares that they're trapped in the building, and in order to escape, they have to murder someone and not get caught.
Pum, pum, pum.
So it's this mysterious game where you go through certain events. Monokuma brings up a motive, which is supposed to make one of the characters murder someone, which, yes, happens. And then it's up to you to collect the clues and, in a class trial, deduce who the killer is. Because if you don't, well, everybody dies aside from the killer who gets away.
Yep. Many of you US viewers who are among my ancient age may recall this very similarly as the game Survivor, which is, I know, worldwide at this point, but originated in the United States around 2000, 2001, where 16 people were basically dropped unceremoniously onto an island in the middle of nowhere, and they had to find a way to survive, but most importantly, they had to find a way to make friends and make alliances, because every 3 days, they had to vote somebody out. So you're probably all very familiar with that. Have you ever seen any of that?
I have, of course.
Okay.
Although I know there was a show that even more reminded me of that.
Oh, really?
Sort of. Because the whole idea that there's a black hand, there's a traitor.
Yes.
There was some show.
The Mole.
On...
Are you going to talk about The Mole?
Yeah, that
Yes!
was it.
I love that. I applied to both the Survivor series and The Mole. I did not get accepted, but I am an avid fan of The Mole. Like, I loved and I hated the fact that America canceled the show in its second season, and they had freaking Anderson Cooper hosting it, by the way, whom I'm pretty sure you've heard about, dear viewer. So it's the same thing that you've been talking about, basically. There is one person among the big group who is a saboteur and is basically determined to make sure that they win and everybody else loses. In the show The Mole, the person who is the mole, whatever they prevent the players from winning as far as money, they get. Yes. So basically, the mole's job is to sabotage their efforts to play the games and win money. There's $1 million pool, but the mole has to be very careful that he doesn't expose himself. But then there's an incredible amount of intrigue and trickery where it comes down to the mole is like, oh, I'm gonna not pretend to be the mole later, but yet he's gonna be like, oh, I'm the mole. I'm absolutely the mole. Vote for me. Because the contestants, and I'm almost done, I swear, the contestants have to do a quiz after every 3 days where they ask a bunch of random nonsense questions, but they also ask a lot of questions as to, like, who the identity or what the identity of the mole is. Where was the mole sitting at dinner? You know, how many seats away from Anderson Cooper was the mole sitting? So the quiz, basically, whoever gets the most questions wrong every 3 days is out. And then it reduces and reduces and reduces, and you have to kind of solve. It's basically just like Danganronpa. You solve the game as it goes. So, of course, it was a natural fit for me. That's why I loved the game. And I did a playthrough of Danganronpa 2. Forgetting Paradise? Lost Paradise?
Despair in the Tropics?
Despair in the Tropics. Something like that. Oh, Goodbye Despair. It was called Goodbye Despair. So I did that as a playthrough on my channel, and it got incredibly popular. And I believe in very small circles, I am now a meme.
Oh.
I am now a meme. It's one of the most commented upon episodes of the series, and definitely of my channel. And you guys know me. I am a tiny channel in the big scheme of things. But we're Avril Lavigne. Kill the Clarkson. And I had such a ball. It's such a ball during that series, and it was really where I feel like I found my stride. But my God, that was a long series. Anyway, I need to let you talk. So then after that, continue.
Well, your Let's Play was my introduction to the franchise. I admit I probably saw Monokuma here or there on the internet, but I wasn't really interested.
Oh,
I
and to
didn't
be
know
clear,
what.
one quick second. I did play the original Danganronpa. I'm not going to remember much of it, so you guys know, but I did play the original Danganronpa, and then eventually I got the second Danganronpa. I played almost immediately after that because I was so into the game. Continue, my friend.
Well, yeah, you started the Let's Play, and I admit that initially I did not have that much interest. I can't deny it, I wasn't really interested, I was just following along, not paying that much attention, despite being a huge anime fan and stuff. Even once the general plot of the game was revealed with with the murder, with the killing game, I didn't so much care. But then the first murder occurred. I hear the investigation music for collecting the clues, and suddenly my blood began to rush.
Yep.
I felt excited, and I started to wonder, wait, is this like real? I'm a fan of a lot of detective shows and crime stories, but is this does this mean that I can actually solve the murder case? And that got me excited. I started writing down plans of where each character was at the time of the murder, who has an alibi or something, and all the hints. And I was really, really excited. The class trial began, and you were releasing the videos at your own pace, and I was just waiting, and God, no, I have to do something in the meantime.
That pace was very, very slow, and I'll talk about that as to why.
So I was waiting, and I was thinking, maybe I should actually watch a Let's Play of the first game to make sure that everything becomes clear. And to be fair, the second game doesn't bring up much stuff from the first game until the very end, where it just kind of goes out of control.
Yes,
but
I would agree
But
with
yeah,
that.
I did watch a Let's Play on YouTube of it and got caught up before the trial was over. And from that point on, we were both playing the game together in sync.
Yes. So basically, after I finished, dear viewers, after I finished Danganronpa Goodbye Despair, Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair, and at this point, guys, if you haven't played the game and you're afraid of spoilers, you may want to click away because I'm definitely going to go into spoilers, and you, my friend, you are welcome to go into spoilers at any time. But
Gladly.
Trust me, guys, if you have not even heard of this series, much less not checked it out for yourself, please do. It is super cheap right now. I think you can buy... Let me check. Let me look at Steam here really quick. I think you can probably... And again, guys, I hate to geek out, but isn't technology amazing? I am in St. Louis, Missouri, where I live in America, and this man over here... on the right, I think. Maybe he'll be on the left. I don't know.
Right.
He's going to do the graphics and the animation. I have no idea what it's going to look like. This other guy here is literally about, 6,000 miles away in the land of Poland. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he humors me, but he knows I'm grossly mispronouncing it. Anyway, on Steam... I can see it now. You can get Danganronpa 1, 2, and V3 for... I can't see the price. What the hell? It's right around $60. So for those of you watching and listening, you can get all of those games all in a bundle together for $60 US. What is that in PLN?
Or
euros.
Don't know. 180.
I don't know. Oh boy, let me look that up. 60 USD in PLN. That is 229.57 Poland zloty.
Yeah, so
Yes.
all Polish fans of Kronos, that's for you. The price tag.
I have a lot of European fans, my friend. Oh, it's also currently 53.42 euros as of this recording. So y'all should check that out. Anyway, so yeah, basically my experience was playing through the first Danganronpa, which is called Trigger Happy Havoc, where the idea that my friend Farrell introduced was first introduced, and it was it was very captivating. I'll just let he's played it more recently or seen it more recently than I have, so I'll let him give a brief summary of Trigger Happy Havoc without maybe a little bit of spoilers, but not too heavy. Go for it.
Oh, the main protagonist of the game is Makoto Naegi, the ultimate lucky student. He got picked as a student in Hope Speak Academy just because he won in a lottery, and he's there with a bunch of with a bunch of other people, all with their own talents, and yeah. Monokuma reveals himself, the building is locked up, there's no way to escape, and yeah, Monokuma declares that if you want to escape, you have to kill someone. And of course, eventually someone gets killed, but we spend a lot of time with the characters before that happens.
And if you don't mind my interrupting, really quickly, my friend, can you give a somewhat spoilery, but not too much, just sort of a general description of the case itself, the first one that greets you in the Danganronpa series, and, you know, give details, but keep vague as to who done it, if you know what I'm saying?
Oh, you mean it like that?
Yes.
Okay.
But no, I didn't mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Well, the first game starts with the case of... crap, no, I have this...
The idol.
Okay. So the first case in the first game is the murder of Sayaka Maizono, the ultimate pop sensation.
Yes.
And a friend to Makoto Naegi, the protagonist.
From high school.
Quite a surprising death. Everything was set up like she's your friend and she's the first one to die immediately, found in the shower. And
also, she was trying to kill your ass.
yeah, that's also an interesting addition. It's the first case, and already, yeah, your friend, your best friend, tried to betray you. She wanted to murder someone else and frame the murder on you, but she got killed herself. And even furthermore, I remember starting with this because yeah, the second game I saw the one murder, but this was surprising because the first game and already, oh my god, this is so tangled up. And to add more shock, before the investigation even begins, the ultimate fashionista, Junko Enoshima, gets killed with spears because she did not follow the rules. And what? You're just killing off characters like that? There's anybody can die? That's shocking. You do not expect a video game to do that sort of stuff.
Yes, so basically an important note here is that anybody who violates the rules of Hope's Peak Academy and in the rest of the series basically is going to get killed. You cannot violate the rules in any way, and Junko and Ashima absolutely violated the rules.
Yeah, but admittedly, mostly the rules exist just to be an element in the court cases,
Yes.
to just say that okay, it's a rule, so definitely nobody would be able to do it without dying, so we can be sure that they didn't do it. That kind of...
Yes.
that kind of storytelling element.
Anyway, so you guys get the idea. Basically, this first case throws you into this ridiculous world where you have to adapt or you will die. And the trial system is very much like Phoenix Wright, if you've seen that. You have to come up with a case, and you are required to do basically this weird little action scene where you have to find the contradiction, very much like Phoenix Wright. Continue, my friend.
Yeah, and of course, in those trials, to contradict statements, to prove them wrong, you use truth bullets, which are basically evidence that you collected during the investigation from the scene of the crime and its surrounding. Because there's a lot of elements, not just the dead body, what was the murder weapon, what did the killer do before the crime, after. Did they get rid of some evidence? And of course, there's the confessions or statements of a lot of people from around the area. Did you hear anything? Did you see anything? And with all of that, you're able to solve the case. And what impressed me was that not in every case, not in every game, but oftentimes, you could take those clues and already before the class trial starts, figure out who the killer is. And that was the most fascinating part to me, because the most frustrating part in most detective stories to me was always that it was impossible for the viewer to deduce the things themselves, because there was always something that the detective saw that the viewer did not. Or stuff like that. Not that it would help that much with how crazy those stories can get. But yeah, that was the appeal of Danganronpa for me. That I could for once be a detective and try and solve everything on my own.
Yes, we're not just talking your basic Clue board game here, Cluedo for you Euros. In America, we call it Clue. Get it right. No, seriously. But it literally, I've played games like that before in my past as a youngster, and I've desperately tried to make it work so I could record it on my channel, but I just can't. It was one of those Windows 95 games. Can't do it. It was another FMV Hell game that I tried to make work, but I've lost the CDs at this point. But anyway, so I've played lots of games like that. And I think I've told you that, buddy. I've played lots of games like that where you basically get to be the detective. And I'm actually playing a recent game on my channel that I've taken a quick break from because I kind of felt like I was just sort of spinning my wheels and I was stuck. But I played a game recently on my channel, and I'm so busy now with my new job that I literally can't even think of it. The psychic detective. The shape-shifting detective.
That one.
The shape-shifting detective. Which is, anyway, I won't talk about that. But the point is, this game and this series literally puts you in the role of the detective. But what's especially interesting is that not only are you the detective, you play the role of someone who absolutely must solve this, or you and everyone around you will die. Period. You're dead. The end. So you have no choice but to put all of your effort, all of your passion, and the writing. Like, I've recently, ever since 999 and their sequels, I have been completely introduced to the Japanese visual novel and anime style, and it's ridiculous. Like, if you're like me, dear viewer, and you are good at losing yourself in a game, you will love this. You will absolutely love this, because it's very much like Phoenix Wright in that you have to put yourself there, and you have to really, really think hard. In most cases, when I'm trying to prove a point, and this is a con to the game, this is a problem I often have, as you know, my friend, I usually overthink things, and I usually know exactly what I want to say if you guys have watched the series. I usually know exactly what I want to say, but I have no clue how to say it. So, just how about we talk about maybe the second game a little bit, and then maybe the third game.
maybe let's talk about overall our feelings on the first game.
Yes. Okay.
Well, okay. I will in general say that the first game is an interesting beginning for the franchise. But in retrospect, given what games followed, I do end up feeling like the characters aren't as colorful or interesting as in the games that followed. But with that said, at the same time, it already feels that this one game, they already kind of shot everything possible at the viewer. We have, yeah, as said, already the first murder is a complex case. Then we have another murder where someone tampers with the evidence just for fun. Then we have a double murder, a suicide, and various complex things. Oh, it's not. I'm not gonna go into that big of a spoiler, but or yeah, there's a 16 student. What? It
Love it. Keep going, man.
it already felt like in the first game they're throwing every possible secret twist at them, and as said, considering how a bit more simple the characters seem, it would seem natural to play it safe and only go really crazy with the games to follow, but no, they already went with so many tricks in the first game, and some of them were not used again in the games to follow.
Yeah.
Not saying that's a bad part, but just making note that it's a bit more simple, but it's also a bit more crazy in some regard.
And see, this is the problem, because the first game did it so perfectly that they had to go like batshit crazy in the next two games just to throw you off.
Exactly.
If you guys have never played these games, please start with Danganronpa 1. It is, I think it was originally released in like 2007.
I'm checking real quick.
But I didn't play it until 2015, I want to say.
Oh, 2010 was the
2010.
original release.
Okay. That was literally when I had gotten my master's degree in psychology. Psychology. Clinical psychology. My master's degree that I am using currently in my field for the first time ever since I got it. I am so happy about that. Love me, guys. I have a master's in clinical psychology. You have to love me. Oh, what was that? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah. The first game is phenomenal. If you guys have not played it, if you have not seen it, please check it out. It's so good. Now, from that point on, Danganronpa 2 and then Danganronpa V3 gets a little out there.
Yeah, but proportionally so. Danganronpa 2 is twice as crazy as the first game, while V3 is about 100 times more crazy.
Yeah, so without my going into plot for Danganronpa V2, Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair, which I will invite you all to please check out on my channel, but you've probably already seen it if you're listening to this. So, anyway. A cosplay channel recently followed me, and they have lots of Danganronpa videos in their playlist. And I talked about it on Twitter. It was like, oh, what was it? It was so funny. The name. It was like, oh, I just can't remember. Let me look it up.
Well, okay.
It was like albino hamster or something. It was so funny. Anyway, and she, I think it's a she, apparently had a huge, just a channel dedicated to cosplay, which is funny because I'll invite you to talk about your cosplay experience later on.
Later on, yes, indeed.
Later on, yes, indeed. Anyway, but anyway, let me focus in. So once you get into the second game, Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair, you start to see that I don't know if the team changed or I don't know if they started to get more popular and then the plot started to get really weird. But I will say, from the very beginning, I had an idea of what the plot was going to be. And I totally called it, and I was very vindicated when it finally happened. That it was revealed. That's all I'm going to say, but I will say that Danganronpa 2 became quite meta in that the game realized that the fan of who's playing it, and I was a huge fan, don't get me wrong, became such a crucial point. What were your, my friend, what were your reactions, initial reactions and then final reactions from excuse me, from watching my playthrough of Danganronpa I keep saying that, Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair. Just from watching my playthrough. You may have played it yourself, I don't remember.
Yeah, I did end up playing it. So yeah, after rushing through the first game and continuing with your Let's Play, I was into the game. I did not feel like that big secret of the world, everything about that. I don't feel like that was hidden all that much. The characters talked enough about it, so it seemed kind of fishy to begin with.
See, and I thought so too, but I was thinking a little too meta, where I was like, okay, this is what they want me to think. I don't know if this is real. And that's the great thing about playing these games, and I'll shut up in a second. But that's the great thing about playing these games. You don't know what, like, you have this almost mental conversation with the game and the writers, where you're thinking, okay, do they want me to think that this is what's going on? I don't know what's going on. And so you're constantly thrown off your guard. And that's why the writing is just spectacular in this entire series, to a point. Continue.
Yeah, actually, the second game did have some red herrings or things that are so ominous, and you're left wondering, what's it gonna be? What's it like? To start off, it's said that one person on this island is a traitor. That one of you is a traitor, not a part of you, not a real Hope Speak Academy student. And okay, that's already a mystery. Which one of us is it? Then there's the fact that aside from Monokuma, there's also Usami, this little bunny, bunny Sailor Moon diaper wearing thing, and yeah, she's supposedly the teacher. She's gonna take care of you, and you're left wondering, is she the good guy, or is she basically the same as Monokuma?
I was convinced she was gonna just kill us all.
Yeah,
it was too cute. It was too cute. I was like, this is gonna turn out bad.
Yeah, and of course, Hajime Hinata, the main character, his ultimate talent was hidden. And yeah, in the first game there was also a character with a hidden talent, Kyoko Kirigiri, but this time our protagonist had that hidden talent, so it was a major mystery. And amongst other secrets, well, nothing comes to mind at the moment, but anyways, there was a lot of... Oh, wait, no, it was Nagito Komaeda, because, wait, he's the ultimate lucky student?
We don't talk about Nagito around here.
Oh, so yeah, there was a lot of things that left people speculating. What is this? Does this mean anything? And some things ended up not meaning anything. They were just bluffs to keep you guessing.
The game just keeps you on your toes the whole time. And just so you guys know, Nagito is the bane of my existence. I hate him so much.
Well, from all the cosplaying that I've been part of, I know that the girls love Nagito.
Unless Nagito, or unless the ladies happen to be cosplaying Nagito, then I will make an exception. Continue.
Of course you would. Oh, I did really like the game. I liked solving the murder cases because it still sort of worked. It was feasible to guess who the killer was. I even have real memories of solving the fourth murder case where I was sick. I had such high
This
fever,
is
but
still Danganronpa 2, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I was so sick, but I kept thinking about Danganronpa, and oh no, I can't sleep. I have to solve the murder
Like, this
case.
game, believe me, viewers, this game just takes up your life. You cannot help but think about it all the time. That's why I loved it so much. Continue.
Yeah, the good thing was I managed. It took me 1 minute to solve it then, and then immediately. Like, truly, once it was out of my head, I know who the killer is. I fell asleep immediately.
And you forget.
No, thankfully, no.
I'm just kidding.
But yeah, the second game was a neat little follow-up. The end twist was a bit crazy, but I feel like it still made a lot of sense.
It did. I think it did too.
Yeah,
and I want to mention here really quick, I'm sorry to interrupt you again, my friend. I'm just so excited about this. I have never done a podcast before. I want to say that again. I am the most unprofessional possible right now. But again, I want to mention, have you seen the anime?
I have. I was about to mention that.
Not the first game's anime. The Danganronpa something or other, which is basically Danganronpa 2 and also kind of Ultra Despair Girls.
Yes,
Go ahead.
I'm exposed to all of it.
So what's interesting is that, again, the same friend of mine, she hates being mentioned, so I'm going to say her name again, Jenny. She's so embarrassed. She's just like constantly embarrassed of me mentioning her. But she is awesome, and we hang out all the time. In fact, tonight I'm going to Comic-Con, called Wizard World these days, here in St. Louis. I am super excited. I'm going to be leaving in about 3 hours to go there. But anyway, I'll be meeting her there. And she showed me this anime. So I can't remember the title. Is it Danganronpa 3?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I'll trust you to put a link or something in there. But I know you can do that. But anyway, she introduced me to it, and the anime was originally shown, I believe, in Japan, alternating between the events preceding Danganronpa 2 and the events concurrently going on in Danganronpa Ultra Spare Girls. And it apparently went one episode preceding Danganronpa 2 and another episode preceding basically being Ultra Despair Girls. So it went from the sort of hope, as you guys who are familiar with the series, it went from a hope angle to a despair angle. And I feel like I watched it from just all of hope and later all of despair. So I didn't quite have the same experience, but you guys, you ought to check it out. It is definitely worth it because the despair angle actually stars several of the characters from Danganronpa 1, Trigger Happy Havoc, in a new game, in a new killing game. And I ought to mention this right now. Before I even got into this series, I am a huge horror buff, as you guys know, and I loved the Saw series. For the first 3 movies, the Saw series is incredible. And so this killing game in that anime is well worth watching. I'm not going to go into spoilers. I'm not even going to talk about it, but please check it out. Anyway, continue, my friend. Whatever you want to talk about.
Well, I know that a lot of people are split on the anime. Some feel like certain things, certain characters were ruined, depicted the wrong way, not like they were in the game. But
Really?
yeah, yeah. Some people say that Chiaki, for example, that oh, she was such a fun, deadpan character a lot of the times, but in the anime, she's like this super girl who's so super perfect. Things like that. But I personally don't really mind it. Actually, I
Spoiler
will.
alert. Spoiler alert for those who don't want to hear it.
Well, I'm not.
She was originally a human being. So she has feelings.
Well, from the two parts, I admit that I kind of had some issues with the sequel, the sequel part, that what followed after Danganronpa 2, the whole continuation. I did like elements of that killing game, but that really didn't capture me. And of all the characters in the anime, I think only the great Gozu was really of interest to me.
Oh, you mean the horned character?
Yes, the
Yes.
ultimate wrestler.
Surprise, surprise. I was interested in the horned character.
but yeah, the whole story about the students of Danganronpa 2, how their school life was, how all of that went, that was actually my favorite part, especially since we got to find out a lot about, well, Byakuya Togami, who was one of my favorites in that game.
It definitely, without going into detail, it finally explained what I never understood. For those of you who have watched Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair on my channel, it finally explained why Fat Byakuya was a thing. You'll have to watch the anime to figure that out. I won't go into it.
It was really an interesting way to find out the whole story, and oh no, I won't be revealing too many spoilers. Best
Yep,
not.
you got it, man. You got it.